Hey, welcome back, everybody. So my next guest, I've had the privilege of working alongside and knowing for a bunch of years. His amazing, I don't even want to call her an assistant because she's way cooler than that, sent me his intro. I'm going to honor her by reading you the intro because it's really, really good. So Craig Goodliff, he's a great dad. Let's just start with that. I could just drop it right there and just not read the rest. He's been on the cover of top 100 U.S. business leaders, 21, business 100 top 100 innovators and entrepreneurs, 22, top 100 innovators and entrepreneurs, 23. He was inducted into the prestigious marquee Who's Who Biographical Registry, ranked number 6 in founders and CEO in LA Wire. Featured in Reuters and CBSNews.com, Valiant CEO ranked Craig in their top 20 business leaders. Not to mention Wall Street Journal, Forbes Business Council member, and contributor. Craig is celebrated for his ability to transcend geographical boundaries and empower businesses worldwide. He's the CEO of Cyberbacker, owner of Copper Nickel Events, founder of the nonprofit organization Sharing the Good Life, executive coach with MAPS Coaching, Forbes contributor, and is even working on a book with Forbes Advantage. Craig believes that where you were born has very little to do with what you can do. Craig, welcome. We're really excited to have you on. Thanks for taking the time with us today, man.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure.
So I want to dig right into it, man. The audience is going to want to know. So I know it talks about you've got your own cause right in the front, and you can call it nonprofit, you can call it for a purpose. I call it a cause. So this is something that I've always seen you do from the very first day that I met you. This was first and foremost in your world, that you put your cause first and you had it up front. So you're not a closet philanthropist. And in this business environment, that's a big deal. To me, that's a very disruptive piece because you're unabashed. Talk to me about what that pathway looked like.
Well, it's very simple. It's children, kids. People need help from all over the world. And some of my worst days in this life, some of my hardest times have been nothing compared to what other people are subjected to from all over the world. And I'm grateful for every day just being who I am and being surrounded by great people. And I feel blessed and fortunate. And there's other people that need blessings and they need help. And I'm grateful to have an opportunity to help with that.
Yeah. And you've made an active decision to put that first in your company. Like, I know it. I know it's part of your mission statement. I know it's part of everything that you do. Like, I know we're grateful for it. And I want you to expand on that a little bit of what made you put the cause first. Like, what event transpired in your world? I've heard you tell this story. I'm fishing for one.
I know the one you're fishing for. I'm happy you're fishing for. Well, no, it's a lot of this and a lot of the things I think that we go ahead and, if you will, we develop our superpowers in. It comes from places where we've been very insecure, where we've really failed. And because I've failed in a lot of areas in life, if there's something I can attribute success to, it's having more failures than most. One of those failures was a series of bad financial decisions back right around the time of the market starting to do this into the Great Recession. I found myself living in my car. Now, Jake, the funny thing about it is I didn't realize that's what I was doing until about 10 years later. And it was kind of a funny thing because I was thinking efficiently. I was thinking, well, I had went ahead, had a property that I rented out, and the renter wasn't there. It caught fire, and it was a condo. So that was strike one. I had moved out with someone I was seeing. That relationship didn't go so well. Plus, she added some debt into my life that wasn't awesome or expected. And I could go ahead and live with my parents. However, being able to drive between there and the office and everything, well, it wasn't free. So I thought, well, hey, I've got an idea. If I put my clothes in this storage shed near the office, I can kind of sleep in my car. There's a gym I can get ready at, and there's a Walmart when I need food. Oh, I can do this. And at first it was I was trying to save money and be efficient. What it turned into is 18 months of doing that. And it was one of those hard times in my life when I learned some of my best decisions. And I think it's mostly what made me who I am. A lot of times helping others, some people ask for help and don't need it. Some people really need help and they're not going to ask. I was one of those people that needed help and I would never ask for it. And I know there's a lot of people out there like that. I know there's people who want to help. We're all wired different. And so for me, I developed a lot of insecurity on being able to take care of myself. And I just told myself I'm never going to be here again. And not only that, I want to help other people so they don't have to be there. Now, a lot of adults are going to have a hard time asking for help, which is why most of our efforts are focused on helping children. We'll help adults, we'll create jobs for adults. And I love that we're able to do that. And we'll help kids because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, because as a kid, you're not in that decision-making process. You're a process. You're a product. There we go. Product of your surroundings in the moment, like whatever's going on with that. So we have the ability to help those, and that's where it came from for you, which is super cool. And you through that experience, said, "All right, I don't want to be here again. There's no reason for anybody else to be in this position if I can help it." So you created the good life. The good life. I've always enjoyed. You created that and put it at the front of everything that you do. And I know this from a fact because we've worked together for a long time, and just knowing that that's first and foremost. And I know you always put people first. That's always the decision first versus anything else, which I've really been. And that's something that doesn't happen by and large in the current marketplace. Like we say we do it. A lot of bigger companies and organizations say they're people first. What are you doing to make sure that you are your people first?
Well, every week's going to be different, and really every day is going to be different. I think everyone has to find it within themselves to go ahead and say, how would I help going back to before we talked about the younger version of ourselves, you got to go out and help the younger version of yourself. And so that's just kind of where I start. So if I go company-wide, last week we're in the Philippines. We went to this place. I cannot pronounce it in Philippines, so I'm not going to try, but it's called the House of Love. They've got about 40 kids there. Some of those kids, they're orphans. Parents aren't around. Some of them, they're foundlings. They got found somewhere. No documentation, no paperwork, not knowing where they came from. But here's this child. And some, unfortunately, their parents tried to sell them or other situations, and this great group had to intervene. So we went out there and we brought them some supplies and things, and we took a lot of our leaders. And Jake, it's the funniest thing when you go ahead and see, we've got a mutual friend, Jason, great guy. I've only seen him, I've seen him do a lot of fun things, but it was the first time I saw him get there and start coloring with a 5-year-old. I don't know the age, I'm guessing 5. But just these leaders and stuff like that, playing with the kids. We colored with them. We made paper airplanes. We just spent some time with kids, just having some laughs, sharing some smiles. And we gave a few things. We bought financially. We gave our time, and really just, everyone wants to feel cared about. And so that's how we lead. And there's a lot of other little things that I think we all need to do. I think every day it's our responsibility to do something that makes us feel good. And what makes me feel good is doing something for someone else. And if we do that every day, that's a successful day. That's how I measure it anyway. And so that's where my focus is. I just want to have a good day. And if I'm going to have a good day, I got to do something nice for someone else that I feel good doing.
Yeah, it's neurochemistry. We get a little endorphin hit off that. We enjoy it. And you never know what would do that little bit of good for somebody else. Like you could have completely changed their universe in that one little simple act. You said 2 things there that I thought like the audience needs to hear to repeat, right? Go out and help the younger version of yourself. Like, let's make t-shirts. That's a good one. Go out and help the younger version of yourself. That's totally, because we remember where we were. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think that's brilliant. Well, the other was just spending time with those kids. How impactful that was. Like, and I love the imagery of Jason. Like, if you guys don't know who we're talking about, Jason's a big bear of a man. Like he's got a big beard and he's a big burly looking guy, manly guy. I love the image of him sitting with a 5-year-old kid in a coloring book. Love that image because we're never too big, we're never too cool. That's what we should be doing. We should be spending the time. So I love that you focused on that. So all right. So when you started Cyberbacker, you had recovered. You're no longer living in the car. You said,
"Oh yeah,
here I'm moving forward. I'm marching forward." And you decided to start this virtual assistant solutions company. Like I don't even want to call it staffing because it's solutions. It's for business owners so that they can give the tasks that are not their highest and best use so they can drive revenue. Like it's a VA company. So a lot of people don't understand what VAs do. You and I do. We get that. Obviously you do because you run that outfit. But when you started Cyberbacker, what were you doing? Like what were the first 2 or 3 key elements that you said, okay, I'm going to do this because nobody else is. And this is going to absolutely break into the market and do amazing things.
Well, I'd like to tell you it was well thought out. It wasn't. It was one of my closest friends. And she's a coach. And I was coaching at that time. I had 67 coaching clients I was doing a 30-minute call with every week. Had a real estate team that was selling, let's see, the end of 2017, we started Cyberbacker 2018. 2017, we sold 203. We did 203 units, sold 203 homes. And in the 2 counties that we serve, we were in Davis County. We were number 1 in transactions, units sold. So, because like for some areas, 200 is not a lot. For some, it's a lot. For us, it was huge. My friend, though, she asked me, she said, I got to ask you how you're doing this. She said, you go ahead and you coach roughly the same number of people I do. I said, yeah. She says, plus you have this real estate business. I said, yeah. And she says, and most importantly, you've got nights and weekends where you're off work. I said, uh-huh. She says, I'm working from when I wake up to when I go to bed 7 days a week. What are you doing that I'm not? And I just said, well, I've got a great assistant. And she goes, how do I get a great assistant? So I helped her out. And then someone else came and I helped him out. And then it's just like people just kept coming. And I went ahead and originally we were only going to staff coaches because that was the world I knew. And I'm like user number 1 for it. And originally, I didn't see the company getting where it is today. I'm excited it is where it is today. But when we're building up the first year and the first little bit, I thought we're going to help out some people and stuff like that. And it's going to be great. It just kept going. The first year, I'd like to say that I built the company. I put some things together. I hired some great people. We did some good things. I'm excited about it. I think the company is constantly being built with, it was, 2019 when PayPal took our money and we collected from our clients. We hadn't paid our cyberbackers yet. And PayPal sends us an email saying they're keeping $136,000. Well, we had to make payroll to these great people in the Philippines and our clients had paid their money. So they're expecting something. And I had to figure out how in the world I was going to solve that problem. And we figured that out. And then we also went ahead and we discovered, because when we first started this thing, I didn't know you needed an entity in the Philippines. Well, if you're going to have insurance, those insurance companies, they want to know that if you're hiring someone from the Philippines, that there is a recourse if needs to happen. So we set that up too. That was one of those oops things when no one wanted to insure us, and it was a constant process of failing forward, Jake, for being honest. And we're constantly every day I'm failing at something. There's somewhere where I don't feel like I'm measuring up. And every day I go to work on the failures. And some of them, they're things you can fix quick. And some things, it's going to take you months. And you got to know the difference. And you really got to love what you're doing, because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time doing it.
Yeah. And it's so true, because we not only do we learn from our failures, like any business owner that says everything's perfect, everything's running on time, we got it all figured out, I would say your goals aren't big enough. Like, because you're not growing, you're not pushing. You've hit the comfortable space. And everybody on here knows that's my most hated word ever. I hate comfort. Like if you're comfortable, man, I don't know what you did wrong. Like you got that space. Like the fact that us in this entrepreneurial journey, like it is uncomfortable every single day. plain and simple. We are breaking stuff left and right. We are trying to figure it out as we plow forward. We're doing it today with technology, whether we have a StreamYard shutdown or a Zoom update or whatever we're doing for today's conference. We're battling through it constantly. Nothing's going smooth today. We're just having the best day that we can possibly have, but we're learning from those failures. How do we set up going forward? So I love the fact that you're going in and working on them every single day, that you make a point of that, because the audience needs to hear that. They need to understand every day you've got to work on those failures.
Well, to your point, if I go to the gym and I keep picking up the same weight again and again and again, eventually it gets too easy. Mm-hmm. When that weight gets too easy, your muscles stop growing. It just becomes repetitious. You got to get in and pick up heavier weight every day. Mm-hmm. And only if you're wanting to grow. If you're not wanting to grow, you don't need to pick up heavier weight. You don't need to take on challenges. But if you're really wanting to live your best life possible, if you look at the series of events that happen for a person to live their best lives possible, it's not accomplishment after accomplishment. It's challenge after challenge. Like, I love that you read the bio that Jen sent earlier. You know, one of these ones, we should list the failures. It'd be a lot longer. I don't think they'd definitely tune out, you know. But
I didn't know that they would. I think that'd be a great episode, honestly. Like, if we just listed that off, people would finally like either start crying or just realize that it's like, oh, I'm only halfway there. I can fail a whole lot more. Like, we can make them feel really good about themselves.
Yeah. And then it's also part of picking up the weight is it's having the purpose. I want to help a lot of people in this world. I want to help a lot of kids. And for adults, I want to give them an opportunity so they can be their best, whatever that looks like, whether it's creating a job for them or staffing them or whatever it is. And for me, that's why I do what I do. And a lot of times I think people haven't found the best in themselves yet because they don't really know what they want to do. And I think the poor excuse people use, this is a very poor excuse, it's money. And money is a poor excuse because it should never be your reason for doing something. It's a tool, it's an exchange tool we use to exchange with one another, but it's not a good reason to go out there and do something. A good reason to do something is it's your mission. Now, most of your missions, most of your causes have to be funded by money. Yep. So you're going to have to figure out that piece. But when you're going to work for the mission, it's a different feeling than when you're going to work for the money.
Totally true. Absolutely true. So I got two more questions for you, but at this moment, I know you know your numbers, like you're a coach, you know your numbers up one side and down the other. How many careers have you created that didn't previously exist? How many careers have you created in the Philippines?
I can only tell you the current number. If we look at total lifetime history, we're a little over 9,000 now.
9,000, which is awesome. And guess where that came from? That came from failure. That came from this broke, that didn't work. We're going to fix it. We're going to move forward. But what I know about this, and you know it too, and that's why you're so invested in this, is those are not just like minimum wage jobs in the Philippines. This is life-changing wages for people that have amazing skill sets. I have had my virtual assistant. I hate to even call her that because she's so much more to me. We've been together for 3 years, and she has absolutely, without question, changed the face of my business. All the things that I do, and she will. Like I told her the other day, I was picking on her, and she will never do it. But I said, you need to create a YouTube channel so that people in the Philippines can understand from the VA's perspective what it is to work alongside a lunatic visionary that is constantly changing things and evolving and adding and trying and breaking, and just, how hard you work on the backside. Like, she's amazingly dedicated. And I know Jen is the same for you. She does amazing things for you. What it does for the faces of our business. So, I mean, I can preach on that all day, and I know you can too. So let's go into this. So looking at the business as a whole, how do you constantly foster that culture of innovation, adaptation, change, and feedback? How are you fostering that within your organization?
So one of the things with innovation, and I'm sure people are going to be talking about a lot, is the way that we use artificial intelligence. And if we look at the challenge that every one of our leaders have right now, It's to go ahead and accelerate their learning. So one of the fun things I did, and anyone can do this, I took a book that I've been studying called Necessary Endings by Henry Cloud. Tony DeSello recommended it to me because I was going through a personal necessary ending. Necessary Endings, that's the book. And I wanted to go ahead because some of our people, they'll say I have a hard time learning, stuff like that and whatever. Well, what I did was I copied a chapter of the book into ChatGPT, one of the GPTs that turned it into a video. I had everyone watch the video and answer some questions. Then I showed them the video was actually the book. And I went ahead and said, now your job is to go ahead and turn a book into another way you can learn it. Because I can upload a book and I can go ahead and have AI summarize it for me. I can have it quiz me on it. I can go ahead and accelerate my own ability to learn. And that's the first thing that we've got to do, because I've got to have better educated leaders. We've got to have better educated team members. And so I'm looking at how do I use artificial intelligence to shorten the amount of time to do that. And so that's one of the ways that we're using it at a very high level for innovation. And I think right now, if you look at where things are going, the way that AI is right now is it's like when we first had Google searches. We could first look up things on the internet. And there were people that just, they didn't bother with it. And then there's people that's like, are you kidding me? How have you not done this? And we're starting to go ahead and go through the same process again with artificial intelligence. And a lot of people that know it's there, but they don't understand how to push its capabilities. And so one of the things to put out a better work product is a lot of our cyberbackers are being trained differently with how they use artificial intelligence, because a lot of the things that can be done, the cyberbacker just needs to have the prompts, the resource library, and the AI so we can go ahead and accelerate the output. And I'm always looking for entrepreneurs, how can I lower their costs and increase what they're receiving, their output, while still taking one of our wonderful cyberbackers, and paying more money than they've ever made in their life.
Yeah. So, I mean, using AI to accelerate the education process, that's another point of leverage. You and I use that word all the time. And leverage is all about getting something done with the least amount of effort. It comes right down to it. Archimedes, right? We know what that is. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, I'll move the world. And now integrating that into day-to-day practices to be able to shorten the amount of time it takes to get something done, using it at, I want to call it a rudimentary level, right? I want to call it that. And yet it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It's a tool. It's just like money. Money's a tool. AI is a tool. How are you using it? How are you integrating it? So you're implementing it into day-to-day and training the VAs, training the cyberbackers to be comfortable using it. I was on an AI panel not too long ago, and the discussion keeps coming up of, is AI going to replace people? And the answer keeps coming back. AI is going to replace the people that don't embrace AI. If you're using AI every day to make you irreplaceable, you're not going to get replaced by AI. AI isn't going to replace people, because we're still in a relationship business. That's still the piece. Like, there is no way I would ever let, and I'm sure Google is going to pop this up later because it's probably listening to me. I would ever replace Gemini, or I'd ever replace ChatGPT. I would take those and replace Krissa. I would never, ever consider doing that, because she's a people. I still need my people. I still need to put myself around that. So I still have that relationship, but we empower them with the tools to be able to do it. So I love that you're embracing that piece. So let's wrap it out with this, man. So closing that loop of helping your past self, reaching out and helping who you used to be. What's the piece of advice that you would give the previous version of you? What would it be?
Well, if you go back in my history, my work background has been all over the place. I've been an electrician. I've been in optical. I've been in retail. I've been in real estate. I've been in coaching. And right now, here I am. I've got this great company called Cyberbacker. The biggest thing I wish I would have known sooner is do what makes you happy and makes you feel good every day. I didn't feel good when I was an electrician. I didn't love it. I felt better when I was doing optical because I could help people see. I felt better when I was in real estate because everyone loves that feeling of giving a first-time home buyer their keys and seeing that excitement. I love that. And then I love the excitement of being a coach when you're going ahead and you're seeing people do things they never thought they could. Now, being in Cyberbacker, I get people every day who say, hey, I just wanted to share this. I bought my first car. I bought my first house. I'm earning more money than I've ever had before. I've got a bigger savings account. And I'm just kind of pursuing those moments that make me happy. Also, I worked for this thriving tech company called America Online. You might have heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't enjoy the work, which is why I didn't stay. And well, you know how that worked out for them. So I'm sure if I would have been there, I'm just kidding. But go do what makes you happy every day, because life's too short to work a job you hate. And I think you can find the happiness in what you're doing right now. But if you're not having fun and you can't make it fun, you might be in the wrong place.
Totally valid, man. Totally valid. So what's one more thing you want to leave the audience with today? What do they need to know that would just be amazing in their universe? And I mean, I know, so here's what, talk to them about leverage. What has it really done for you?
Oh my gosh, life's completely changed. And let me tell you where it started is there's this book, 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. It's really old. That was the first time I heard about hiring someone. And when I first read that, I went, I'm never going to hire anybody. Like, that doesn't make sense. Why would I do that? I can do things myself. That's where I was. Then I realized at some point, some of the tasks I was doing in my business, they didn't make me money. Answering the phone could make me money, but it didn't most of the time. Phone still had to get answered. Sellers had my phone number in front of their house. Someone had to answer when the phone rang. And then I just went ahead and I took the things that were obligations, which is from 4 Hour Work Week. And those are the things that I hired someone as quick as I could to get rid of those, because for someone else, that was the job and they wanted to do it. And for me, I didn't want to do it. And when I was able to do that, I was able to spend more time doing the things I loved. And that's really the path to success. Hire out your obligations, get rid of those as quickly as you can. Either just don't commit to doing them unless you are legally bound to, like real estate transaction paperwork, get it off your plate and don't do it. If it doesn't give you energy, you shouldn't be doing it. And first, give up the obligations. That's it. Obligations, you don't like it, throw them away. Like, get rid of them. Someone else has to do them. Once you have that, you're going to have a lot better day, and you're going to have more energy, and you're going to be able to accomplish more.
That's the amen truth, man. So I'm going to throw the website on there. So there you got the ticker tape, www.cyberbacker.com. It's been an amazing company to work with, and Craig's been a great partner to work with for a number of years. Thank you again for spending a little bit of time with us today. I know our audience is going to get just a ton of value out of this conversation. And by all means, reach out to Cyberbacker. If you can't get a hold of them and you need more conversation about this, reach out to us. We are happy to have the conversation with you because we know how to get them to you. So Craig, once again, and like the thing I want to end with today is where I want to start it. Dude, you're a great dad. Like, all the things in this world, like if I can go back and tell my past self something, it'd be to go back and tell my past self, you're going to be a great dad. So yeah. You need to hear that too. You are a great dad, and I'm grateful for the partnership, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Have a great day, Craig.
You too.